I've put together 5 spots again, the ones you can actually play in tournaments. I'll break down each spot in detail, loot, positioning and key gameplay decisions. This is the second part of this format, so if you haven't watched the first one, make sure to check it out. And don't forget, any spot is just a tool. How you play it depends entirely on you. Alright, let's move on to the first spot. The first spot is located close to the center of the map. It's near Bumpy Bay, so you need to be aware of nearby players. The spot itself is a gas station plus outpost. This spot can spawn up to 11 potential chests plus a balloon that lands right on the outpost. It has 2 more chests, if no one looted it before you. Because of this, I'd say this spot is better suited for solo than for duo, but overall it depends on your decisions. There are also slurp truck here, giving you instant healing from the start. 2 possible cash register, vending and mining machines where you can buy heals or weapons with gold. Materials here are completely sufficient, even for duos. Wood and stone are around the spot and easy to farm, and metal comes straight from the split. You can comfortably farm it to full. This spot gets contested fairly often because the split is small, yet it provides everything you need. As I said in the previous video, the key here is to land first and play the spot correctly. If you're confident in your landing and skills, this spot can be consistently won. Thanks to its central location, rotate to the zone are usually short. The only downside, there aren't many chests for duo. For solo this amount is more than enough, but in duo loot can sometimes feel a bit tight. Overall, this spot is solid because it has everything: good positioning, reliable loot and full mats. Plus it loots super fast. Yeah, there are only 11 chests, not too many, not too few. But if this format suits you, this spot is definitely worth considering. The second spot is a bit unusual, because it's basically one spot but with 2 different playstyles. It's located on a mountain and the spot itself is near Funkman land, just a map reference. The spot has a top area and a large lower split, and depending on the situation you can play more safe at the start or aggressively right away. First option, you play from the top of the mountain, take your position and don't go down to the lower split, if that's enough for you. Second option, you either loot the mountain quickly and immediately go to the lower split, or drop into it straight from the landing. If you only take the top, there are 14 potential chests in the radius, though they are a bit spread out. The lower part of the mountain has 17 potential chests in the radius, and they are very close to each other, making this option extremely strong for loot. Here's the material situation. Wood and stone are all around, sometimes a bit spread out, but farming them here is easy and not a problem. Metal can be farmed either at the large spot under the mountain, or if you don't want to go down, there are small buildings to the left and right, where you can grab the needed amount of metal. There is also metal further down in the very bottom path of the mountain. Players drop here often in both solo and duo. The top of the mountain is a bit less contested, but that doesn't mean it's completely safe. Players can land there immediately or come up from the lower split via zip lines. The lower split, however, gets contested more often, but the reward matches the risk. If you win the fight, loot is more than enough for duo without a doubt. Rotates here are never a problem. Even though it's on the edge of the map, you're still on the highest mountain of the map, and there are plenty of launch pads at this spot, so rotation shouldn't be an issue at all. The main downside, the lower part gets contested a lot, but if you're ready to play for a strong start and live with max loot, then it's more of a plus than a real downside. The takeaway for this spot is simple. It's a flexible spot that adapts easily to the situation. You can play it aggressively or more safely at the start. The spot gives you the option for both styles. There are a ton of chests, materials are enough, and it's perfect for both solo and duo. So this spot is 100% worth your attention. The third spot is located between the center and the edge of the map. It's neither a full edge spot nor a center one. The closest named location is Closet Lodge, but it's far enough away that you usually don't get early game pressure from other POIs. On the spot itself, there can be up to 14 potential chests spawns. You also get 1 cash register and 1 slurp truck. If needed, there are a few extra chests near the waterfall to finish looting. Materials here are very strong. Because of the position, wood and stone are literally everywhere. Farming them is fast and safe. There are also a lot of metal, since the spots mostly consist of metal structures. You won't have any math problems in either solo or duo. This spot is fairly often contested, both in solo and duo. It's not a safe spot, as the early game is almost always active. If you're comfortable fighting off spawn, this is a good and consistent choice. Rotation here is simple and stable. However, if you stay on the spot for too long, you should be aware of possible players rotating from paint and palms. Overall, this is a strong and consistent spot for an active playstyle. You get good loot, full mats, a solid position. The spot works for both solo and duo, but it's not a fully safe option, and the early game here is almost always active. The fourth spot is located closest to the battlewood and sits on the edge of the map. It's much better suited for solo, there's simply not enough loot for duo. The spot has 8 potential chest spawns and 2 cash registers. This is fully enough for the early game, and if needed you can always pick up more loot later during the match. Looting here is fast and you can get everything you need to start the game. In terms of materials, wood is easy to farm and available in good amounts, stone is present but farming it takes a bit longer, metal can be farmed later from the main building without any issues. Overall, mats here are more than enough to fill a full inventory for solo. This spot is often contested both in solo and sometimes even in duo. However, overall not many players land here, so the early game is usually more calm compared to other spots. Rotation is simple and comfortable. There are no major POIs in nearby, which makes rotation out of this spot very easy. The main downside is the limited loot. It's enough for the start, but you need to upgrade your loot later. On the plus side, there are also less risks in the early game. In the end, this is a solid spot for solo. The loot is limited and smaller than on other spots, but the risk of dying early is also lower. You can quickly farm the materials you need and play the rest of the game slow and controlled. And the last one, the fifth spot. It's located not far from the center of the map, right under the mountain, next to another spot from the first part of the video. If someone lands on the nearby spot, you need to keep that in mind and play carefully. On the main spot there are 10 chest spawns and 1 cash register. Very close to the spot there are also 4 extra chests that you can loot without unnecessary risk. Materials here are completely solid. Wood and stone are available both nearby and on the mountain. Metal is also available directly on the spot. Most importantly, all mats are very fast to farm and there's enough even for a full duo. In solo this spot is almost always contested. In duo it's roughly a 50-50. Rotation is simple with no real issues. You can take position right on the mountain and comfortably wait for the next zone. And there's another spot nearby, and if no one lands there, you can safely loot it as well. I explained how to loot the spot properly in detail in my previous video. The verdict for this spot is simple. This spot works perfectly for both solo and duo. There are enough mats, solid loot and very comfortable position. Contest is possible, but the spot is stable and consistent in actual games. If you enjoyed this breakdown of 5 spots, make sure to leave a like. If you haven't seen part 1 with other spots yet, definitely check it out. All spots from part 1 and part 2 are available in my Discord server. Thanks for watching, good luck and see you next time. Peace.